Interest is the money that you pay to someone for using his money. That is the additional money you pay him for using his money. Like you go to the dealer, you take a car as a loan, then at the end of 2 years or 5 years or whatever, you pay him some certain amount in addition to the original amount of the money. So that is what this is talking about. That is the difference between the ending amount of the money and the beginning amount of money. So the ending is always bigger than the beginning amount. So the difference is what is known as interest. We started discussing about simple interest and compound interest. So today we'll look at these two in details, and then we will see how to make some small calculations under this subcategory, that is the simple interest and the compound interest. So simple interest is the method of calculating the interest amount for some principal amount of money. So the principal amount of money is the beginning money. That is the main cash, the main money. Let's say they are selling a car at 100,000 SAR, and then later on you pay some amount that is higher than 100 SAR. So the main money is 100 SAR. That is the main cost of the car is 100,000 naira. So that is the principal amount of money. It's the method of calculating interest based on that principal amount of money. Simple interest is calculated using principal only. So it is only calculated using the principal amount. You don't calculate it using the principal and some arbitrary variable. So it's only calculated based on the principal. So the formula for calculating principal is simple interest is principal multiplied by number of periods in years, and then multiplied by the interest rate in percentage. So simple interest is P, which is the principal, multiplied by N, which is the number of period, and then I is the interest. So you don't need to memorize this. I is equal to P and I. Okay. SI is equal to P and I. So P is the principal, the main money, N is the number of a period, that is how many years it takes you to return this money, and the I is the interest in percentage. Okay, so in order to calculate the total amount of money, that is the total amount of money that this car cost you, that is you sum up the principal and then you add it to the interest. So let's say you take a car, the original amount of money for the car, that is if you go to the showroom and you want to pay cash today, it will be 100 reals. And then after 5 years, the additional amount of money, which is the interest, you add it up to the principal, it will give you the amount the money the car cost you. So this kind of formulas, they are important for you to remember, to understand how to use them, because definitely they might come up in your quizzes or in your exams as a calculation. So amount is the total money paid back at the end of the time period for which it was borrowed. So the total amount of money you pay back to the dealer or whatever is the amount. Okay, so this is interest, a simple interest. We said it is calculated using principal only. Now let's look at compound interest. Now the major difference between simple interest and compound interest is that simple interest is based on principal only. That is the principal amount of money the car costs only. I showed you in the previous slide that simple interest is based on principal amount only of a loan deposit, of a deposit or loan, and that is anywhere, whatever. If you are talking about loan that you collected or whatever, then it's based on the principal only. Whereas compound interest is based on the principal amount and the interest that accumulate in every period of time. So let's say you have the principal is 100 real. So next year it becomes 120 or 100, and maybe you pay some part of the 100 reals, then maybe it will go less. So maybe it is 80 reals. Now 80 reals will be interested, it will have some interest in it. That is, it will to be interest on interest. That is, it is accumulating in every period of time. Simple interest, in other words, is calculated based on principal only, while compound interest is based on principal plus all accrued interest. That is, interest compounds over time. That is, the amount that the interest is gaining over time is the compound interest. Okay, yeah, I can record. Okay, so if you want to calculate the amount due, the amount of money that you are supposed to pay after some years, then this is the formula that you use to do this kind of calculation, which is the principal, that is the main money, that is the 100 reals or 100,000 that you pay when you go to the showroom. If you want to pay cash, the main money plus one into bracket, that is multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate raised to the power of number of years, that is n. This total due amount is usually denoted by a symbol F. P is the principal, 1 plus I raised to the power of n. We will see this formula in detail. We will see how to use this kind of formula later on. And actually, I can even show you how to use Excel to do this kind of calculation. So this is an example of interest. That is simple interest. So $100,000 lent for 3 years at simple interest of 10% per year. What is the repayment after three years? So they want to know how much you pay after 3 years. That is the total amount you pay after 3 years. What is the repayment after 3 years? So now you know from here, 3 years is the number of years, and that is from this formula, n will be 3 years, okay? Then the $100,000 that you lent at the beginning will be principal, that is P from this relation. P, you have n, then the I will be 10%, that is 10%. If you divide it by 100, it will be 0.1, and 3 is for 3 years, and 100 is for the principal, and then it will give you the interest is $30,000. Somebody is writing. Yes, n is equal to the duration. That is, you can call it years. So that is 3 years, okay? If you remember here, I said n is the number of period in years. That is the years again. The time duration in years, that is n. Okay? So now you've calculated the simple interest or the interest, that is $30,000 from $100,000. After 3 years, it will become $30,000. So the total amount that is due, that is the total amount that you pay this guy, that you pay the dealer or the person that is lending this money to you, will be, that is the total amount. If you remember our formula, the total amount will be principal plus the interest, okay? So the principal is 100,000 and then the interest is $30,000 at $30,000 plus $100,000. You sum them up, and then you will get $130,000. So this is how you calculate the total amount. This is how you calculate the simple interest. Whatever they ask you to calculate, given this kind of data, you should be able to do that. So this is another example that is asking you to find the total amount in your account. If you start with 750 at 7%, 7.5% interest rate for 2.5 years, total amount in your account. That is, if you remember, we talk about this total amount, that is total amount of money after some years will be equal to principal plus 1 plus principal multiplied by 1 plus interest rate raised to the power of number of years. So this is the formula that we plug in to calculate the total amount. So find the total amount in your account if you start with 750 at this percent interest rate for 2.5 years. So 750 will be your principal, that is, you started with it, $750 multiplied by 1 plus 7.5 divided by 100 is 0.075 raised to the power of 2.5. The best way to do this kind of calculation, I mean, you can use a calculator for this to do this calculation, but if you are someone like me that is lazy to use a calculator, it's better to use Excel, because Excel it gives you this kind of straight way to do this kind of things. I will show you an example of how to do, Excel. Maybe some of you are not familiar with this. Can you see what I am showing you? Can you see the Excel file on my screen? Okay, great. Okay, great. So what you do, you just click, you take your mouse, you open the Excel file, just search here, you will see Excel, or you type Excel here. I know you know it, but for some people that don't know it, okay, please be patient with us. So you just click on it, start a new project, you look for any cell and click on it, and you put is equal to the equality sign that is here. Just the same way you have it on the PowerPoint. Is equal to, you write the 750, that is the money that the guy starts with, and you put the bracket multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate is 7%, 7.5%. So if you want to write 7.5%, then you close the bracket. Okay, then you put raised to the power, you write control, you press shift on your computer, and then there is this power, this sign. Usually it is at the bottom key number 6. So you press them together and it should give you this raised to the power. Then you put your 2.5. Okay, so this is what you have. Sorry, I forgot to write the multiplication. So you have a bracket here, you put multiplication and it will give you your answer straight away. But if you are good in, you see they are corresponding. But if you are good in pricing calculators and you don't make mistakes easily with calculators, then please you can go ahead and choose whatever method is most suitable for you. Okay. So this is the way you calculate the total amount of money in your account. When you start with some money, you pay 7.5. You are getting 7.5% interest rate for 2.5 years. Then you plug it in and do your calculation. So this is another way. How much should you invest at 7% to have $200 after 5 years? So now they're asking you how much would you invest. This one, they are giving you how much you will invest, and they're giving you the interest rate and the time, and they ask you to calculate how much is your account after 2 years. Now, this ones, they are giving you $200. That is the amount that you would want to have after some years. And then they are asking you to calculate how much you need to invest, that is the principal, at this percent after 5 years. So the same thing again. If you have Excel, your life is easy. Okay, if you don't have Excel, then you have to do it the hard way with calculator, and then make P the subject of the relation and calculate it. Okay. So this is another example. I mean, all these kind of examples, you just watch out. They will come up in your quiz or your homework or your final exams in one way or the other. Okay. So this is this is just the formulas that we looked at. We said the total amount, if you have the principal, that is the starting amount, multiplied by 1 raised to the power, plus the interest raised to the power of the number of years. T is the time, or if we don't have it here, P is the principal, F the value or the amount of money after at some future time. After some n period of years, and then n is the number of periods, that is how many years, while I is the interest rate. Okay, so try and remember these few relations. I mean, if you are given like just the way we are given P here, we don't have F. Okay, and we have F, we don't have P, so you can just plug it here and calculate P. Okay, and they made this easy for you. If you have P, you don't have F, just like the way we have it in this example, then you can simply plug it in there and do your calculation. So this is another example. asking you to do this kind of calculations. Please let me go and check. My daughter is crying here at the door. Okay, so this is another example. They're asking you, they're saying an engineer received a bonus of $12,000 that he will invest now. So he's working for a company and they gave him a bonus of $12,000 and he wants to invest this money. So it means his P will be $12,000. That is the money he wants to invest. This is the principal. He wants to calculate the equivalent value after 24 years. So now he wants to calculate F, that is the total amount it will be after 24 years, that is N will be equal to 24. When he plans to sell all the resulting money as the down payment on the island vacation home, assume the rate of return of 8% per year for each of the 24 years. Okay, so the interest is 8%. Find the amount you can pay down using the tabulated factor, the factor formula, and a spreadsheet function. So we have seen how to use this formula today. So let's stick to the formula and calculate it. So F is equal to P plus 1 raised to the power of N. If you remember this guy, F is equal to P plus 1 into 1 plus I raised to the power of N. So he has the interest, the principal, which is $12,000. One is their interest rate is 8.5, they said, yeah. And then N, they said is 24 years. So if you plug it like this, then you will be able to arrive at this relation. Alternatively, you can use a formula on spreadsheet. So we will look at this formula next class. I don't want the two things to crash on your head. I will show you how to do this next class. But basically, it's just the principal, that is P multiplied by this bracket F over P. F over P from this relation. F, you make from this relation, you make F over P the subject of the relation. That is F over P will now be equal to 1 plus I. And if you do that, you should be able to get what is inside this bracket, okay? So F over P is 1 plus I raised to the power of N, okay? 1 plus I raised to the power of N. So 1 plus I is 8%. Raised to the power of N, which is 24 years, you get your F over P, which is a function of 8% and 24. Then you will be able to get this final value and they will correspond. But we'll look at this formula in details next class. So this is another question that I want you guys to go and look at. You can do it as a homework, but I don't want you to submit it. Just do it on your own and tell me the answer next class. You have deposited $5,000 in the bank. So you are depositing $5,000. That is your principal. How much will you get back after 6 years? So you want to calculate the F. How much will you get back after 6 years if the interest rate is 8%? So this is, you have the interest rate, you have P, you have N, which is 6 years. All what you need to do is calculate F, yeah? 793. What, this is the value? Oh, okay. MashaAllah. Okay, good, nice. So you are the best economist, yeah? Okay. Other people should also attempt this question, okay? And this is another question: how much you have to pay to get this amount? So they're asking you how much you have to pay. They're asking you about the principal now. How much do you have to pay to get this F? That is to get $14,000 after 10 years at the rate of 8% per annum. So your N now is 10, and the rate, that is the interest, is 8%. They're asking you to calculate F. So I want you guys to concentrate on how to use the formula. In next class, I will show you how to construct a cash flow diagram. Again, this is another question that is requiring you to use a cash flow diagram and the Excel formula to do the calculation. But for now, you guys can focus on the formula, do the homework, and familiarize yourself with how to use the formula. So inshallah, next class, I will show you how to do the cash flow diagrams, and then how to use the formulas. How to use the Excel form, how to use the formulas on Excel to do this kind of calculation. Okay. So this is it for today. I will upload the lectures for the lecture slides, so you guys can have a look. Do you have any question regarding the material we shared today? Okay. If you don't have any question, then all the best. Have a nice time, inshallah.